Everybody, welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. So today I'm going to start out with a different deck. It's called The Buddha Wisdom by Sofin Chan. All right, and I shuffled the deck, and the card on top is, let's see, it says, your divine nature is the beauty of all beauty. Love that. All right, so your divine nature is the beauty of all beauty. I love that. When I read it actually gave me a little bit of a chill, and that's because it really is so true that our divine beauty is, it's like everything for us, right? It's that pure beauty that transcends external beauty. It's that beauty on a soul level, and when we connect with it, right, with that divine beauty of our soul, we tend to feel different inside. We are not judging ourselves or thinking less of ourselves. Instead, we are seeing our greatness, right, our inner beauty, our beauty on a soul level. And it allows us, right, to, I'm thinking like still that inner critic that lives inside our head, right, that's constantly, telling us we can't do something because we're focused on what we don't know, all the worries and all of, the fears that come up and consume us. And we forget that, right, that's just our inner dialogue. That's not our true essence, and that's not really where our beauty comes from anyway, right? But we get caught up and we forget, and that then overwhelms us emotionally, and we get caught up in the storm. But when we pause, right, and we remind ourselves that, right, our divine nature is the beauty of all beauty, then we are able to create a deep shift for ourselves. In other words, we create a deep shift in the way we see ourselves and what we think about ourselves. And we're able to pave a different path for ourselves, because when we're thinking that we're not enough, or we're worried about things and we can only see our negatives, then we forget our positives and we lose our way, right? There's like no other road to take but to get lost, because we're consumed in that negative inner dialogue, and we're not seeing, right, just the pure essence of who we are. So before I go any further, I do want to pick a word from my bag of words to see what else I'm inspired to share. All right, let's see. Relentlessness. So, that immediately makes me think of how important it is for us to be relentless with our self put-ups. In other words, speaking self-praise, speaking words that are uplifting, and being relentless with it, and looking for ways, right, that we can see our good, taking out the time to see our good, and to create a practice where we say something nice about ourselves, getting into the habit of saying something nice about ourselves, as opposed to looking about what isn't, so positive, or something that we did. When I say something that isn't so positive about us, it's really something that we do. And whatever we do that isn't so positive, it's usually based in some form of fear. In other words, if we're afraid of not being accepted, then, right, we may show up, right, we may do something that's not so positive, or think something that isn't so positive about ourselves. But that's because we aren't seeing that, right? We're afraid of how we're going to be perceived. And so then we think, right, we need to people please or do something a certain way so that we are liked and accepted. And we get lost in that. And then we can say, oh boy, I wasn't, so positive. Well, that's okay, right? We see it for what it is. And we allow that, right, to exist, but not to overshadow, right, the truth about, right, our divine beauty and our essence. So, right, we separate, ourselves from that. We don't make it, our identity, or allow it to or at least we don't want to, right? Allow it to consume us or create a lot of shame around that. Instead, right, we want to create a shift that brings us back to something positive about us, because we don't have to be perfect to be positive, right? We don't have to be perfect to be a good soul. It doesn't really have to work that way, right? Because we're not here to walk on water. So we're going to do the best that we can, but we can, right? And sometimes we're going to get lost in the story of our mind, right? We're going to get caught up by our inner critic, but we can still pivot from that, and we can make a U-turn. We can shift, right? And be relentless with what we say to ourselves about ourselves and what we're thinking about ourselves. And when we do that, we start to interrupt the story that the inner critic is running amok with, right? And we create a deeper shift so that we're not stuck in an old pattern or continuously believing old negative beliefs about ourselves. And instead, right, we're implementing a new practice, which is thinking something positive about ourselves, practicing that and being relentless with that, and always incorporating something positive about ourselves, and not allowing, right, any of our mishaps or fears or actions because of our fears to confuse us or delude us into thinking that we're not good because of that, because we are good. We are good. We are beautiful on a soul level. We are more than just what we do and what we think. That is the story. That is not our essence. And we want to remember that as much as we can. And we want to be relentless with that remembering. All right. So I'm going to end with that. I hope that this video has helped you in some way. If it did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I upload further videos. All right. Bye for now.